Hello, everyone. Welcome back our channel. The behind-the-scenes video of the Kith Women Spring 2026 campaign, personally designed by Lisa, has quietly transformed into one of the most talked-about fashion visuals of the season. What initially seemed like a simple documentation of a photo shoot has evolved into something far deeper, something more personal, more cinematic, and far more intentional. Released through the official social media channels of LLUD, the independent agency overseeing Lisa's global activities, the footage does not follow the typical formula of glossy campaign promotions. Instead of flashy cuts and dramatic music, it chooses restraint. Instead of spectacle, it chooses intimacy. And in doing so, it invites viewers into the creative mind of an artist who is no longer just performing in front of the camera but actively shaping what happens behind it. The campaign itself belongs to the women's line of Kith, the New York-based street luxury label recognized for its modern, clean, and distinctly urban aesthetic. Yet from the very first frame, it becomes clear that this project is not meant to feel like a conventional fashion advertisement. The tone is slower, quieter, more reflective. The camera doesn't rush. It observes. It lingers. It breathes. We open on a rooftop. A vast metropolitan skyline stretches endlessly into the distance. The city lights flicker like constellations below. The sky exists in that delicate space between dusk and night, painted in gradients of deep blue and shadow. At the edge of the building sits a solitary figure, a woman, calm and composed, silhouetted against the glowing horizon. Nothing about the moment feels accidental. The composition feels deliberate, almost symbolic. It is not simply a beautiful backdrop. It feels like a statement, a transition, a threshold between past and future. Visually, the scene becomes a metaphor. Ambition rising above the city, a new phase beginning, someone quietly studying the horizon, as if mapping out what comes next. As the video continues, the camera moves closer, trading grand landscapes for intimate details. Fabric textures come into focus. The subtle weight of a blazer, the fall of a silhouette along the shoulders, hands brushing gently across garments as if testing their structure. Every fold, every seam, every stitch becomes part of the story. This attention to detail communicates something important. This collection isn't only about appearance. It's about construction, architecture, philosophy. The clothing feels engineered rather than decorated. And through these careful shots, viewers begin to realize something else. Lisa is not merely modeling these designs. She is guiding them. Behind-the-scenes footage shows her discussing concepts with the production team. She studies the monitor closely after each take. She offers thoughts about poses, lighting, and mood. Her gestures are calm but precise. Her expressions focused. There's no rush, no distraction, only concentration. She watches like a director, like a designer, like someone responsible for every frame. For many observers, this becomes the most striking part of the entire video. For years, celebrity collaborations in fashion have often been perceived as symbolic, names attached for visibility rather than genuine input. But here, the involvement feels tangible, real, measurable. You can see it happening. You can see the decisions being made. And that visibility changes everything. The rooftop setting remains one of the strongest visual elements throughout the campaign. The cityscape isn't just decoration. It functions as a character of its own. It represents movement, globalism, pressure, energy, the complexity of modern life. Meanwhile, the figure above remains still and grounded, composed, controlled. It creates a visual dialogue between chaos and clarity, between the noise of the world and the inner focus required to navigate it. This contrast mirrors the design language of the collection itself. The silhouettes balance softness with strength. Structured blazers meet fluid fabrics. Feminine shapes coexist with sharp tailoring. It's a conversation between elegance and authority. Strength without aggression. Softness without fragility. Even the color palette reinforces this mood. Instead of bright spring pastels or floral tones, the campaign leans into darker shades, midnight blues, shadows, muted neutrals, and the silver glow of city lights. It feels more mature, more contemplative. Spring, in Lisa's interpretation, isn't simply about brightness. It's about renewal, reinvention, awakening, a quieter, more internal transformation rather than an outward celebration. And perhaps that's why the video resonates so strongly, because it feels honest, not performative, not exaggerated, just intentional. Within hours of its release, the response across social media is immediate. Clips circulate rapidly. Fans comment on the cinematography, comparing it to an art house short film rather than a commercial. Some even describe it as a fashion film instead of an advertisement. The praise centers on the atmosphere, the mystery, the quiet power, and most of all, Lisa's presence. She doesn't dominate the screen with loud gestures or dramatic expressions. Instead, her energy feels controlled, grounded, confident in a way that doesn't need to prove itself. It's the kind of presence that draws you in without demanding attention. Fashion analysts interpret the project from another angle. Strategically, the campaign signals something bigger for Kith. By collaborating deeply with an influential Asian global figure and granting her creative control, the brand expands not only its market reach, but its cultural perspective. This isn't just a brand partnership. It's a merging of identities. Kith provides the platform. Lisa provides the vision. And together, they build something that feels personal rather than commercial. Inside the studio scenes, we see how this philosophy translates into wardrobe choices. The styling remains minimalist. Accessories are understated. Nothing feels excessive. The focus always returns to form and line. Sharp-cut blazers, clean trousers, balanced silhouettes. Every piece serves a purpose. The consistency between clothing and cinematography is striking. Both follow the same principles: clean, intentional, controlled. What makes the behind-the-scenes footage especially compelling is its focus on process. Usually, audiences only see the polished final product. The messy middle is hidden. The experimentation, the trial and error, the pauses, they're erased. But here, those moments are the story. We watch lighting adjustments, pose experiments, quiet discussions, small corrections, the team evaluating each frame together. This transparency creates a sense of emotional proximity. Viewers feel less like consumers and more like witnesses to creation. And in today's digital era, that authenticity matters more than perfection. Because audiences no longer want just the result. They want the journey. They want to understand how something comes to life. For Lisa, this campaign represents a significant evolution in her career. For years, she has been known primarily as a performer with commanding stage presence. But this project reveals another dimension: someone who understands composition, structure, and visual storytelling at a deeper level. Not just talent, vision. This growth didn't happen overnight. It's the natural result of years spent navigating global industries, absorbing different cultures, observing countless creative environments. Over time, those experiences accumulate and shape perspective. Now, that perspective has a platform, and the presence of LLUD reinforces this shift. As an independent agency, it allows her greater flexibility to pursue projects aligned with her identity rather than simply following predetermined formulas. The behind-the-scenes video becomes proof of that autonomy. She isn't being directed. She's helping direct. By the final moments of the film, the message feels clear. This isn't just a campaign about clothes. It's a story about authorship, about growth, about stepping into creative ownership. The pacing remains slow until the very end. No dramatic climax. No loud finale. Just quiet confidence. The camera lingers one last time on the rooftop, the city glowing below, the figure steady against the night sky. And as the frame fades, what remains isn't just the memory of garments or styling. It's the feeling, a sense of calm, strength, of purpose, of intention. Nothing feels excessive. Nothing feels accidental. The minimalism becomes precision. And in that precision, meaning becomes louder than spectacle. The city continues to move. Lights flicker. Life rushes forward. But above it all, there's stillness.
clarity.
A reminder that sometimes the most powerful statements aren't the ones that shout, but the ones that simply exist, quietly, with certainty. And that is exactly what this campaign achieves.